Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am finally filming my birth vlog, my birth experience. I'm going to be sharing with you guys just the tea and everything that went down that day. A lot of you guys have been waiting for the birth vlog and I'm so sorry. I filmed it like a couple weeks ago and I couldn't do it. I couldn't upload the video. It took over my soul, you guys. I'm sorry. But we're here today. I am drinking a Red Bull, meaning I have a lot of energy. I also did this makeup look here for date night in case you are interested in this. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the eye and linked down below in the description box. But today I'm going to be talking all about my birth story. So before we get started into the video, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Click that bell so YouTube alerts you when I do upload a video, which is 3 times a week, every single week. Thumbs up the video if you like me sharing just personal experiences in general. Follow me on social media so you guys can keep up with Liam. He also has an Instagram in case you guys are interested, but I post a lot on Instagram and Snapchat, so follow me there if you haven't already. And let's get started into today's video. Alright guys, so everything started November 18, right? Yeah, November 18. So that's the day that changed my life. So November 17, which was a Sunday, I filmed my last video. That day, I didn't want to film, you guys. I was out of it and I filmed the what's in my hospital bag or my diaper bag. One of those two. I think it was my hospital bag. So I filmed that video and I was just feeling out of it. You know, like I was feeling just so pregnant, like really pregnant. So Monday, November 18, my water broke at around 4 in the morning. I was like dead asleep, you guys, and my bed just started gushing with water, warm water too. And I remember that I got scared, but I knew it was time to give birth. Like I knew it was time to go to the hospital. So I wake up Jesus that night or that morning, and I tell him, Jesus, I think my water broke. And he's like, no, like I think you peed, you know. And I was like, no, it's literally my water breaking. And I remember him like touching the water and like smelling it. And all I could think of was like, I'm about to give birth. You know, like everything just started to feel so real and I started to get so scared. But at the same time, I started to prepare myself mentally for everything, by everything, I mean giving birth. I never thought I was going to go through what I went through, if that makes sense. A couple days before that, my mucus plug came out, and actually the day that my water broke, I had a doctor's appointment with my OB that same morning or at around 9 a.m. But my water did break before that. So long story short, so I take a shower, I get everything ready, and we head to the hospital. When I get to the hospital, they obviously, you know, do everything that they have to do and they check me. I think I was like 1 centimeter dilated. Everything just started to happen so quickly, you guys. Like it was just like I was in a movie, you know, like I don't know, I had like so many like nurses around me, one connecting IV, the other one drawing blood, and it was just like hectic. I obviously went in there with the mentality that I didn't want an epidural, so they made me fill all the paperwork, and when they asked me for the epidural, I said no. I said that I was going to hold off until I can like hold it, you know? Sorry if I'm talking like too fast because I'm nervous even saying this, and I'm trying to remember everything just because like 2 months already passed by, and I also just drank the Red Bull, so bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to make the story as short as I possibly can too, because I feel like I talk a lot and I can like ramble about like every single detail. Like the nurse had blue pants and a red shirt, and you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna go through this quickly as I can. I want to say it got to like 9 a.m. My doctor gets there, he checks me, he checks my cervix, and I was already 2 centimeters dilated. So I was progressing pretty quickly, and I was so happy because I'm pretty sure you guys know, if you guys follow me, that I was working my entire pregnancy. I would go work with Jesus, I would walk a ton because I thought that was going to help me deliver the baby faster. So he checks me and he's like, okay, you're progressing super quickly. You're already close to 3 centimeters dilated. So I think the baby's gonna come tonight before midnight. You're gonna have the baby. And he's like, I'm guessing it's gonna be around 10 p.m. So I was like, great, you know, like I have a couple more hours of this, I can do it. I was already at 3 centimeters. I was in pain, you know, I was bothered, I was cranky, I had contractions, and they weren't too bad though, because I had contractions like what, a month and a half, 2 months before I even went to the hospital. Like I was having contractions, but they would last only like an hour and like every 5 minutes. So they weren't like I think they had to be like 3 minutes apart or like in 2 hours, something like that. I forgot, you guys, but I did have contractions for a full like 2 months before I even gave birth. So my aunt gets to the room, right? And my aunt is that type of person that's like, get the epidural. Like, I don't want to see you in pain. Just get it. And that's not helping, you know, because I had told my husband and I had told Jesus, obviously, and my best friend that I didn't want the epidural. And I also told my aunt, but she was just like laughing at me like, okay, whatever, Tanya, you're obviously going to get the epidural. Like, I know you are. And I was just like, I don't need that negativity in my life. But here's what happened. So my husband leaves. I think he went to go work. And I was contracting, and the contractions just started to get a little bit more intense, and my aunt kept telling me like, get the epidural, like get it. Her like telling me like to get it, it got to a point where I couldn't anymore, and I was close to 5 centimeters dilated, and I couldn't take the pain, guys. I couldn't take the pain. I'm gonna be raw, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because you guys are going to see footage, like videos from my phone of how painful this was for me. Like, it was painful. It was intense. Contractions were intense. The nurse did tell me that I was having back labor. I have no idea what's back labor, what's front labor, what's side labor. I have no idea. But she did say that back labor is a little bit more intense than regular labor. I don't know. She kind of explained it to me, but I don't know anything about that. I had a baby. That's all I know. I got the epidural. Started to feel a little better. I started to apply concealer underneath my eyes because I had in my mentality, like, I had this plan, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna take this cute picture in the bed, which I did take a picture, but it was not cute at all. And I'll probably insert it here so you guys can check it out. But it was not cute, you guys. I was looking like a complete mess. But you know, sometimes we have a plan of how we want things to go, and God has a different plan. And that's why I'm happy that I'm filming this video 2 months later, because I'm calmer. Labor and delivery was rough for me, like pretty rough. But long story short, hours passed by. I had the epidural on. Contractions were coming and going. I think it got to like 10 p.m. and I was at 7 centimeters dilated. I'm gonna look at the videos so I can have like a flashback of everything that happened, guys, because this was intense. I remember November 18 at 5:30. I remember taking this photo. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it here. Oh my gosh, you guys, that was the picture that I was telling you guys about. Not cute at all, right? It's funny because I have the times here as well. So around 10 p.m., the contractions just started to get really intense. I got really thirsty, and I remember drinking a ton of water. And I also took Pedialyte, but like the Mexican version of Pedialyte. I took like, I don't even know how many bottles. I think it was like 5 or 6 bottles. And I was drinking that throughout my entire contractions, like the entire process, because I wanted to be very hydrated when it was, you know, time to push. So I remember taking a lot of water and a lot of electrolytes. Also, something that helped me throughout, you know, everything was smelling Vaporu. I remember in my what's in my hospital bag, I took a Vaporu, and I remember telling you guys, like, I don't know why I took this, but it actually helped me a ton, you guys, like literally a ton. So I was smelling Vaporu through the entire process. I did started to push like an hour before I actually went into labor, and the contractions at this point were pretty intense. I'm trying to make this like as short as possible, so that's why I'm like cutting a lot of the details. But long story short is I get to the part where I have to push, and I'm pushing, you guys. I'm pushing. I'm in pain. The epidural had worn out at this point, and I remember asking for it. Like, I was begging for it, you guys, because I was in excruciating pain, and you guys will see in the little videos that I'm about to show you. But
doctor.
Yo no se supone que lo hace.
Una enfermera.
Yo no sé hablar inglés.
Tampoco. Tú, Alejandra, pregúntale si va a ver al doctor.
Down, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just like that. 8, 9, 10. Big breath. And push again. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Push again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, big breath and push. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big breath in and push again. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Push right here. 7, 8, 9, 10. Big breath and push again. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. And rest. You guys can put their legs down. Don't push you on. It takes a little bit to get the hang of it. Okay? You're not doing it wrong. You're pushing. I could feel it a little bit where you were pushing. Okay? But it's going to take you a couple times to figure out where you need to go. So,
Me acaba de decir que tanto.
I'm going to sit you up. Like we were. We're
Pero ¿a qué hora le va a hablar?
Pues no
Le va a hablar y
sé.
le va a hablar y nomás no le habla.
Yo creo que le dije hace rato que le... ¿Qué tal si está dormido?
Le voy a hablar, se le voy a hablar y nomás no le larga.
Ay, pobrecita.
all in your butt.
Ay, no.
And over here.
Ay,
No, I can't. I'm gonna poop. Oh, I can't.
4, 5, 6.
I was in so much pain that I started begging for the epidural, like literally begging, crying. I remember throwing the rosary I had in my hand. I remember throwing the vaporu that I had in my hand. I just completely transformed into a monster. Like, that's the best way I could explain it. I remember them telling me, like, I cannot give it to you because your baby's gonna have respiratory problems once he comes out, because I think I was already 10 centimeters dilated. I was fully open. I was already pushing, and they didn't want to give me the epidural. So when I was pregnant with Liam, I would always sleep on my right side. I would always sleep on my right side. Every time I would sleep on this side, he would kick me like super bad. Like, he would go crazy kicking me. So I would always end up going this way. So my entire pregnancy, the full 9 months, I was, 8 months because I delivered early, but I would always sleep on this side, and he got kind of like stuck there. So Liam was pushing on that side of my belly. He was trying to get out too. And I remember telling the lady, like, am I doing this right? Like, am I pushing right? Because I don't know, but you guys, a lot of people would tell me, like, push like you're taking a poop, you know? And I remember just pushing with everything that I got, you know? Like, I remember pushing. Oh, it was such an experience. Long story short, my doctor gets here, and it's been about like an hour and a half that I'm pushing, and like, things are just not working, you know? So they finally call my doctor. My doctor comes in, and he tells me, like, the baby wants to come out now, and he's pushing to your left side. Like, he's literally pushing his head to the left side. So he tells me, he's like, Tanya, we have to do an emergency C-section. There's no way the baby's gonna come out because he's going towards the other side. And at that moment, you guys, my heart dropped. I felt, even thinking about it just gets me so emotional, which it's been a minute, so I have to breathe. When he tells me that I have to get an emergency C-section, first of all, I'm terrified of doctors. I'm terrified of having surgery. That is like my biggest, it was my biggest, scare. And at that moment, I was just like, I was so mad, I was mad because I did everything on my part to not have a C-section, to have a normal delivery. And keep in mind, I was in so much pain because I had no epidural at this time. The epidural had worn out, so it was just too much coming from everywhere. And he tells me, I'll give you the option to push another hour if you want to try to deliver him naturally, or I can just take you to the operating room. And at that moment, I was like, what is going on? Like, what the heck is going on? So obviously, doctors are professionals, they know. And I had really good communication with my doctor. I had a really good vibe with him. I absolutely love my doctor, and I recommend my OB 100%. So I had that communication with him. Me and Jesus we got close with him throughout the entire process. So I talked to him, I told him, I'm terrified of surgery. What do you recommend? What do you think? Worried, my baby is obviously having a hard time. He's ready to come out, and he's stuck. He's like, Tanya, what I recommend is that you go into a C-section. I have to operate you now. That baby needs to come out now. So basically, if I would have left Liam in there longer, things were gonna get really bad for him, and obviously for me. So I'm like, okay. I was like, I put my life and his life in your hands, because C-section is a major surgery, and I didn't understand that. Even after I got it, I didn't understand that until I got the second surgery done, and I'll tell you guys that in a minute. Ugh. I didn't want to cry, you guys. It's been over 2 months. Like I said, I tried filming this already, and I tried already, but I was so emotional a couple weeks ago. So I talked to him. I tell him I'm scared, to feel the needles. I'm scared to just feel it, So he tells me, I promise you will not feel anything. So obviously they ended up giving me the epidural, but I think they gave me something else that was stronger than the epidural. I went through those full 24 hours in pain. I also pushed. I also opened 10 centimeters dilated to end up having a C-section. It was just mind fucking to me. So I told him that when I got the epidural, I was still able to kind of feel my legs, I was still able to feel. So I think I got something else that was stronger than the epidural, but same thing. So he calls off the emergency C-section, and everybody just started running to the room, guys. So many nurses, so many doctors. I don't even know who was in there. A lot of people just started, everything just started moving so quickly. They grabbed me like if I was, I don't know, a sack of potatoes, and they put me in a bed and they took me to the operating room. Goes with me into the operating room. You know, so many lights on top of me, and I was wide awake, guys. I was just, my lower body was only numb. And so the C-section happens, you know, they opened my belly or whatever, and they take Liam out, and Liam came out with his head like a cone, like a complete cone, you guys. Like, his head was really bad, and Jesus was like super worried, you know, and the doctor told him like, it's okay, it's okay, he's gonna be okay, which was caused by the fact that he was pushing to the side, so his head was kind of like getting pulled. I don't know how to explain it, but he came out looking like an alien. I ended up giving birth around 3:30 in the morning. After they took me to my room, you know, they obviously asked me if I was going to breastfeed, and I told them that was my priority. My priority was to breastfeed because it was just a challenge for me, a challenge that I wanted to do. I would always get people, like 99% of the people would always tell me like, breastfeeding is so hard, you're not going to be able to do it, it is the worst experience, it hurts a lot. I would get so much negative feedback on breastfeeding that in my mentality, I wanted to breastfeed. That was like my number one priority. So I did breastfeed Liam, but I wasn't getting milk out, obviously, because milk takes days to come in. I did get the colostrum though, which was great because that was something that I really wanted him to get. So he got a lot of that. So basically, after the surgery, I wasn't able to walk, and it was the most frustrating thing ever, you guys, because I couldn't even take a step. My entire body felt sore. It hurted. I was just in so much pain. I think the recovery process was more painful than the actual contractions. I don't know, but it was intense, you guys. So I wasn't able to stand up. I wasn't able to shower on my own. I wasn't able to do basically anything. I wasn't even able to grab Liam on my own. It was hard. So I breastfed him for like a week and a half, and then on Thanksgiving Day, so like 10 days after I gave birth, exactly Thanksgiving Day, the doctor had already removed the tape out of my cut, you guys. And so that day I took a shower, and when I got out of the shower, I started gushing a ton of water and a lot of blood with it as well. And so I obviously got really scared. It was Thanksgiving Day. My doctor was closed. I wasn't sure at that moment, like, should I go to the hospital or should I stay? Like, what should I do? I don't have insurance, so that's why I didn't want to go to the hospital, because I was obviously going to get a bill like the size of, I don't even know what, the size of a giraffe, which I ended up getting a ton of those. But long story short, my aunt was here and from LA, and she was a nurse in Mexico, so she kind of knows obviously all of this. So she comes to my house and she cures, you know, the wound. A couple days passed by and I started to get really chilly. I started to get like a fever. I started to just feel like so sick, you know, like I wasn't eating at all. I wasn't eating. I would get like so much chills, and I was just feeling sick overall. I couldn't even move. I couldn't walk. It was such a traumatizing experience for me, because like if I would have vlogged everything that I went through, you guys would be like, what the hell? Like right now, I am thankful to God that I'm sitting here filming. Like, I'm thankful to be here healthy. I'm thankful to be alive, because back in the day in Mexico, if people were to get a C-section infected, people would die. Women would die, you know, because it's something so serious, you guys. A couple days passed by and my cut opened completely. It opened and pus started to come out. A lot of pus. So I called my doctor and I told him that I wasn't sure if it was pus or what, but it was like some type of liquid and it stink. So he told me come to the office. So I get to the office, me and Jesus get to the office, and he numbs me there in his office and he opens the cut, and a lot of pus was coming out. He's like, Tanya, your cut is infected. You need to head to the emergency room right now. So at that moment, I obviously panicked, you guys. I had a newborn at home. It was just too much to take in. Like, I wanted to take care of my baby and I couldn't, you know. Also, while going through all of that, I was also feeling like depressed it was just too much to take in. I was there for close to a week, and I ended up having a second surgery because my uterus was filled with pus, so they had to remove that out. Up to this day, today, my cut is still not closed. So Jesus has been curing it at home. Obviously, because I don't have insurance, the hospital couldn't send wound care home with me, so Jesus has been doing it. My doctor was super kind enough to film a video of himself curing the cut on me at the hospital, so that way Jesus could do it at home. Also, due to my second surgery, I was obviously not able to breastfeed Liam because obviously he was in the hospital for days, and then when I came out of the hospital, I was on narco. Like, I was on like this heavy duty drug that I wasn't able to breastfeed him anymore. So that kind of sucks. That's how my breastfeeding journey went. Sometimes, you know, like I said in the beginning, we have a plan for ourselves. We have a plan of how we want things to go, but God has a different plan for us. So definitely everything that happened to me, it made my relationship with my husband even stronger. It made me obviously grow as a person, value life, value my friends around me. My best friend was with me through it all. She was helping me a lot. To touch up on postpartum must-haves, or like postpartum as far as for C-section. So the first thing, you guys, is the hospital underwear. They do give you like mesh underwear. You can buy them off of Amazon. I recommend those 100%, especially if you have a C-section, because the material is really airlight, almost like a high-waisted. I also did order these high-waisted undies from Amazon, specifically designed for C-section. I still have to cover and wrap my scar when I do take a shower, which is crazy because it's just been forever, and obviously everybody heals differently. Mine still has not healed. I still have an open cut. It's slowly closing, but we're getting there, guys. We're getting there, and I'm better than I was a month ago. So the second thing that I recommend, you guys, are tummy compression leggings that are high-waisted and that cover your tummy a month after you have your C-section. The first month and a half, I would wear like a long dress to sleep, almost like a gown. That way the cut was able to breathe and air was able to, like, you know, get into the cut. But that's because my experience was totally different. My cut was still open. A peri bottle, which is basically like a squirt bottle, is key when you give birth because you're able to just rinse down there and wash down there, and it was a life-saving for me. The peri bottle was good. I'm not a very like heavy flow type of person, so I didn't really bleed a ton. I actually bled for what, like, I want to say a couple weeks, and it was very light. Nipple cream, obviously if you're breastfeeding, your nipples are going to hurt if you don't know how to latch your baby. Si no te lo sabes poner en la chichi, your nipples are gonna hurt. I used the Mother's Hood organic nipple cream, and that one worked wonders for me. Also, I did buy the Always pads, like the overnight pads with the wings, but I hated those so much, you guys. They were just too bulky and messy. I prefer the pads from the brand Curad, which are the ones that the hospital provides for you. Last thing that I really recommend if you're having a C-section or if you're just gonna give labor, you know, in general, is definitely a faja. In English, I want to say it's called a belly band. I'm not sure, but a faja is key. I have gone through like 30 fajas. My faja journey is, I've tried them all, guys. I've tried them all. I've tried so many. But I finally found one that I am obsessed with, and it's just perfect. My body is not what it used to be. I used to be less than 100 pounds before I got pregnant. I used to have a super tiny snatched waist. Now I am 30 pounds over. My hips got really wide. I went from a size like 1-3 in jeans to a size 7-9, and I also have a lot of belly hanging. Not only that, but I did get a ton of stretch marks. Anyways, guys, that was my birth vlog / my birth experience, my whole labor and delivery experience. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you guys very soon in Wednesday's video. Bye, guys.